Thousands of world leaders and scientists are at the UN summit in Copenhagen trying to figure that out right now. Becky Anderson is there. And Becky, this conference started with a hacked email scandal calling into question the very science of climate change. Today, another scandal is hanging over it. I mean, this one involving a leaked memo. What is going on?
That's right, Campbell. It's day 2 here, and if you thought the toxic clouds of Climategate had lifted, well, think again. It's gone all sort of polluted here in Copenhagen, this time by a conspiratorial and potentially much more divisive event. And this is what I'm talking about. This document has been dubbed the Danish text. Now, it was written up by the Danes on behalf, we are told, of the US and the UK, and it has got the developing nations here in a right old spin, because effectively this proposal, if it were to be agreed on by some of the bigger nations here, would effectively give rich nations significant power over the billions of dollars that would be distributed to poorer countries as a result of any new agreement. I've got to say that we can't quite work out what role this proposal would or might take. The negotiations, of course, are going on behind closed doors, but this has been leaked by the Guardian newspaper, and as we understand, it is now doing the rounds, specifically with India, Brazil and China. Now, the sense from the other developing nations here, I'm talking about the smaller ones, and don't forget that climate change is so important to those smaller nations. It's where you're seeing the visible effects of global warming. They say they are being cut out of negotiations. They say that the Danes, on behalf of the US and indeed the UK, are going after the big guys and trying to drive a wedge between Brazil, India and China and the rest of the developing world. What they're saying is simply this: don't leave us out of the meat and potato negotiations, the bargaining that's going on behind closed doors before these world leaders turn up next week. This could be really big. We don't know how it's going to play out at this point, but it's certainly extremely divisive and potentially quite destructive to any political agreement we might get by the end of next week. Campbell?
Oh, so bottom line, Becky, President Obama could be really walking into a firestorm next week.